McNeil at the 45 to the 50. Charlie Waters out of bounds at the 41 of Dallas.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for watching my video, maybe subscribing to my channel, maybe giving me my video a thumbs up, or maybe leaving a comment, anything at all. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to get my channel up and running. Anything you do at all, anything you guys do at all for me, tell me out. I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you. I saw a couple of articles about Xavier McKinney holding a couple grudges, not against just the Eagles, but also holding a grudge against the Cowboys. Last year, after we beat the Cowboys in the final game of the season, we had to wait around to see what was going to happen between the Eagles and the Redskins. Obviously, if the Eagles won, we would wind up winning the division at 6-10. In my point of view, actually, the way it happened, the way the Eagles tanked and all that, I'm not very, really thrilled about that. But, in the long run, we got a better draft pick. We got a couple, we traded with the Bears and all that, so we got 2 first-rounders next year. So, in all, I think it's best for the Giants, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, after the Giants beat the Cowboys last year in the final game of the season, Xavier McKinney said he wasn't even going to watch the game at nighttime between the Eagles and the Redskins because he thought the Eagles had a good chance of winning, but he was kind of like following the game, kind of like a group chat he was having with the defensive the secondary between some cornerbacks and the safeties and all that. So they were like chatting and all that, and then all of a sudden he kind of noticed that somewhere along the line that the tone of the conversation started changing. He said there was a lot of like one-word sentences. I don't know if WTF was one of them, but the tone of the conversation kind of changed. So he was like kind of figured something was going on, something kind of funny. So he put the game on, and he was just like, couldn't believe it. The way the Eagles kind of just tanked the game. And you even see Jalen Hurts on the sideline. You kind of, in a small way, I feel sorry for him. The man went out there to try to play to win the game, and he gets pulled for Nate Sudfeld. That's all right. Doug Peterson, he's gone anyway. He helped his former employee get a better draft choice, so he blew it. So, and he lost his job, so he got what he deserved anyway. But Xavier, he's holding a grudge against the Eagles, and actually it wasn't like so much the Eagles. The Eagles players, wanted to win the game. Nobody goes out there to throw a football game. The only one that did that was Doug Peterson, and he got what he deserved. But it was just kind of the way it wound up happening. It is what it is. But Xavier McKinney's going to hold a little grudge against the Eagles, not so much maybe the players, but against the Eagles. And so I'm all for it, especially if it helps us get a few more wins against the Eagles. Now, throughout the history with the Eagles, we've had some good moments. We've had some nice stretches against the Eagles, but late the Eagles have had the best of us. The first game the Eagles ever played was on October 15th, 1933, all right, in the Polo Grounds. The first game the Eagles ever played was against us. We beat them 56-0. Now, in 1933, you scored 56 points. That's a lot of points. That's almost like scoring 100 points nowadays. 56 points back in 1933 was a lot. The way they're throwing the ball 60, 70 times a game nowadays. They weren't doing that back then. So 56-0 was huge. Then the most points ever scored against the Eagles was by us in 1972, November 26, 1972 at Yankee Stadium. we beat the Eagles 62-10. Good game. And then with the series, okay, after the 2000 season, okay, when we beat the Eagles in the playoffs, okay, at home, we beat them in the playoffs 20-10, we held a 75-59 advantage. We'd beaten them 16 more times, okay. After the 2020 season, we were up by 16. After the 2020 season, the Eagles are now up by 2 on us. Okay, they hold an 89-87 advantage. Out of the last 42 games we played, the Eagles have won 30. The Eagles are 30-12 against us in the last 42 games. Unbelievable. One of the things that I couldn't stand about moving here was from 1975 to 1981. The Eagles beat us 12 times in a row. I moved here in 1977. I'm about 15-20 minutes from Philadelphia. I'm in South Jersey, but I'm about 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Can't stand the Philadelphia fans. Absolutely despise them. So when we moved here in 1977, they beat us both years in 77, both years in 78, both years in 80. They beat us the first time in 80. I mean, they beat us like, when I moved here, they beat us like 9 times in a row after I moved here. I mean, I just couldn't stand it. And all the kids at school knew I was a Giants fan. Like, I hated it, despised them. But, and then, the Eagles, before we beat the Eagles last year in week 10, 27-17, the Eagles have beaten us 8 times in a row. So the Eagles of late have really gotten the best of us. And I'll tell you what, I'm about time to really have things start turning around in the Giants' favor. Then apparently he also has a grudge going against the Cowboys. Apparently when the draft was coming, and Xavier McKinney was being talked to quite a bit by the Cowboys, right? For the 2020 draft. They were talking to him a lot. They seemed to have a lot of interest in him. The Cowboys needed help on defense. So he kind of seemed to think that the Cowboys were going to be maybe the team that was going to get him, or maybe not even get him, maybe move up and get him. He really thought he was going to be wearing that Cowboy star on his helmet. So when it didn't happen, he's a little ticked off about that. Now, I don't know if you want to call it making things even worse, but not only we picked him at 36 in the second round. The Cowboys were picking 51. I don't know if he thought the Cowboys were going to jump from 51, maybe in front of the jump way up to take him. I'm not sure. But so we took him at 36. But I'm going to say, adding insult to injury, the Cowboys took Trevon Diggs, the cornerback from Alabama, at number 51. So that not only didn't they take him, but they took his teammate from Alabama. So so he's holding kind of a grudge now. He won't have to wait too long this year to continue his grudge, because we played at Dallas in week 5, and then we don't play him till week 15 at home in New Jersey. So he said that the interception he had last year, they kind of sealed the game, and got us our 6th win and all that. Was huge. He was so happy, about that. But he'll be holding a grudge against the Cowboys, he said, forever. So, which fine by me, because when you're talking to Giants and the Cowboys, the Giants have had a couple of moments here and there against the Cowboys. Very few and far between. I mean, the 2007 playoff victory when we went down to Dallas and we won 21-17 on our way to our Super Bowl victory, that was a huge one. There's been a few. The other one I can think of was in 1981. The Giants, it was the last game of the season. It was in Giants Stadium. The Giants were trying to get to the playoffs for the first time. This is 1981. Trying to get to the playoffs for the first time since 1963. First time in 18 years. The Giants had to win the game They beat the Cowboys in overtime, 13-10, in a very windy stadium where the fans were freaking out. Oh, it was absolutely bananas. I watched the game on TV. I absolutely loved it. But the Giants went up 9-7, but they had to wait until Monday night to see if the New York Jets could beat the Green Bay Packers on Monday night. If the Jets beat the Packers, that would not only send the Giants to the playoffs, but the Jets had to win that game so that they could get to the playoffs. The Jets did just that. They beat the Packers 28-3 on Monday night. So that sent the Giants and the Jets to the playoffs in 1981. What a magical, magical season that was. Didn't turn out, neither team won the Super Bowl, but both teams making the playoffs in the same year, very magical. But I mean, other than that, we've had some nice, games here and there against them, but nothing really, really huge. I mean, the Cowboys, for the most part, had our number. I mean, they hold a 69-47 edge in games. They've beaten us 22 more times. Okay. In the 1970s, the Cowboys won 17 out of 20 games. I mean, in 1960, the first year the Cowboys were in existence, the Cowboys were 0-11-1. The one team they tied was the New York Giants, and not only that, but they tied us in Yankee Stadium. The year before, 1959, the Giants went to the 58 and 59. The Giants went to the championship game. So in 1960, we got a good team. Cowboys expansion. The Cowboys lost their first 10 games. They come into the Yankee Stadium and they tie us. Unbelievable. The Cowboys, they out of the last 18, they've beaten us. They're 13-5. They've beaten us 13 out of the last 18. From 1974 to 1981, the Cowboys won 12 games in a row against us. I mean, it's been brutal. That was another, like with the Eagles, from 1975 to 1981, the Eagles had beaten us 12 in a row. I mean, those are some brutal times, from mid-70s to the early 80s. I mean, the Redskins beat us 1971 to 1976. The Redskins beat us 11 times in a row. The Eagles beat us 12 times in a row from 75 to 81. The Cowboys beat us 12 times in a row from 74 to 81. I mean, it was just unbelievable, horrible time. But I mean, so for the most part, the Cowboys have kind of always had our number. So we've had some nice games here and there, maybe a nice little streak here and there. But for the Cowboys, usually seem to wind up getting the best of the Giants. Now, Xavier McKinney had a pretty good season last year. Now, obviously, he broke his foot. Now, he missed the first 10 games. The first 2 games he came back and played, and he didn't get a lot of playing time. Some special teams. The last 4 games of the season, that's when he started getting some playing time. He wasn't in there 95% of the snaps, but he started getting more and more playing time the last 4 games of the season. I mean, he panned out pretty well. PFF grade, his defensive grade was a 70. Okay, his tackling grade was an 83.2, very good tackler. He only had a missed tackle rate of 4.2%. Good tackler. His run defensive grade was a 63.8. His coverage grade was a 69.2. So for a rookie, that's pretty darn good. He had 10 balls thrown his way, 7 of them were completed. So he gave up 70% completion rate. Okay, well that's not good. But out of those 7 completions, went for 47 yards. 6.7 yards a completion. He didn't give up a touchdown, and he had the 1 interception. So he had a pretty good year. Hopefully he can stay healthy this whole year, and expect nothing but good things from him. But I'll tell you what, I mean, if he's holding a grudge against the Eagles and against the Cowboys, if that's going to help spice up the rivalry between these teams, I'm all for it. And I can hardly wait for this season to begin. Bring on those Cowboys and bring on those Eagles. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there. And go Giants! Woo!